live. This is a receiving live show. Sunday night at, I don't know, it's probably like 8:30 p.m. Here at a CNS warehouse. Undisclosed location. If you know the location, let me know. Try and get you out of a dirty window here. It's not working. Not working. My window is dirty. This sucks. Come on. There we go. There we go. That's a little bit better. How's everybody doing this Sunday night? Y'all watching football? Well, that reminds me. I should turn on... The Commanders are playing right now, aren't they? I should turn my TV on and watch a football game. I did watch the Eagles and Packers game for a while. And then I had to leave where I was parked to come to the receiver here. So I didn't catch I didn't catch the fourth quarter, but when I got here to the receiver, there was 2 minutes left in the game. So I watched the last 2 minutes of that game. Glad to see the Eagles victorious over the Packers. The fact that I'm from Minnesota, I am a Minnesota Vikings fan and despise the Green Bay Packers, unlike the comment that below from Grade 8 Transportation, who's a huge Packers fan. Yeah, you gotta get rid of Jordan Love, man. That dude's trash. All the hype over him. Then again, Sam Darnold didn't play well last week either. So, but you say, good evening, Fate and chat. Why aren't you still driving? Because I'm at the receiver. I don't have to drive when I'm at the receiver. Gary Bates, what's up, man? How are you? Are you still working at Walmart? I watched a live show of yours. Man, that must have been a couple weeks now where you were redoing some electrical work in your house. Your audio wasn't coming through, but I was there. But yeah, we're getting unloaded this evening at a CNS. I've been to this CNS a few times, and sometimes they're very quick. Other times it takes hours. I just got a text message. I should check that later. Anyways, how's everybody doing this Sunday night? We got, who's playing right now? The Commanders and the Buccaneers, right? Yeah. I should turn that on. Let me turn that on real quick. Let me go back here, turn this light on. Where's my remote? Hotspot. Ooh, there was the game. There we go. I don't have to, I don't know if y'all can hear me. Should get a little bit closer. It's on regular TV. My antenna is picking it up, so I don't have to turn my hotspot on. Oh, it just started. Buccaneers versus the Commanders, 0-0. All right. Wheelburner Express is in the house. What's going on, man? Chill guy. Hi. What's going on, Edward? How are you? Green Bay has 13 world championships and the Vikings have how many? Yeah, I understand that. Doesn't mean I have to like Green Bay. And what has Green Bay done? What? Rodgers won 1 Super Bowl. Favre won 1 Super Bowl. And then I think all their other Super Bowls were kind of like before my time. You know what I mean? Before I really watched the NFL. But I do remember Favre winning 1, and I do remember Rodgers winning 1. But yeah, the Vikings, I think the Vikings have played in 3 Super Bowls and lost all 3. I know they've lost 2, but I think they've been to 3 Super Bowls and lost all 3. We have a tendency of losing in the in the NFC Championship games as well. But you know what? The Vikings beat the Packers twice this year. So if we would have faced them in the playoffs, trying to beat a team 3 times in a year is kind of difficult. You know what I mean? And the Eagles, I mean, if you can stop Saquon, you have an opportunity to win. You know what I mean? Saquon Barkley, what a trade that was. I cannot believe the Giants did not re-sign him. I kind of want to see kind of would like to see Washington win this game. Anyways, how's everybody doing? I got a couple of thumbs up. It looks like there's 16 people in here. 5 thumbs up. Why don't you guys hit the thumbs up for me? Or you can always cash at me at F8truckin or super chat too. Don't do that. Don't do that. Keep your money to yourself. But I got to do a little self-promotion when I'm on the internets. Anyways, let's turn this around. Enough looking out there. Let's put you right here. And go like this. Boom. All right, we're at a commercial right now. I don't even know if the audio is going through my headset or not. So now there's only 6 people in here and 6 thumbs up. I guess that works. I lost 10 people by showing my ugly mug. So I really don't have anything to talk about tonight. It's just been a very long time since I went live. Let me put my hat on. There we go. Yeah, I really don't got anything going on tonight, man. I have this delivery that I'm at right now. Once I'm unloaded here, I have to find a spot to park because I'm picking up tomorrow morning in the Philadelphia area. Well, in Philadelphia. So I need to find a spot to park after I get unloaded here, which might be kind of difficult. I know that there is a TA Express, and right by the TA Express, there is like, well, I don't want to, I know of a couple of parking spots not far from me, maybe about 45 minutes away. But that would still put me probably like an hour and a half away from Philadelphia for the morning. I just can't think of any place to park once I get closer to Philly, especially at this time of night. I mean, it'll probably be, it's 8, what time is it now? It's 8:25 p.m. I'll probably, let's say I'm out of here by 10:30. Yeah, I can't think of anywhere else to park. So I'll probably have to put myself an hour and a half away from downtown Philadelphia for tomorrow morning, which means I gotta get up early to get there. Oh, now my picture's all goofy. Let me change my antenna here. There we go. Anyways, that one guy, how are the rates? Rates are good, man. Rates, actually, spot market rates this week were on fire. Now, I don't run a lot of spot market freight, but I am dispatching now, and one of the guys I'm dispatching basically has ran nothing but spot market, and man, he was, between him and me, we put him in good positions. He ended up being in Atlanta on Friday, and Atlanta was just on fire. There was, where he was located, there was like 1,000 loads in a 100-mile radius of where he was, and people were paying stupid money. I have another buddy that was he was in Chicago, and he got stupid money from Chicago to Atlanta. He got like $3,600, one pick, one drop. I mean, it was absurd. So what I've noticed on the load boards a little bit is way more volume out there, and people aren't afraid to pay. Like I said, somebody's coming to my truck, it looks like. I run a lot of customer freight. So I brought a customer load from the Midwest out here to the East Coast to Maryland, and I'm doing something I've never done before. I'm actually picking up another subscriber load on Monday. Somebody that found me on YouTube and has freight and offered me a load. I don't want to share too much about it right now because I think I'm going to vlog it because it's a very interesting load. So I told that guy that I would do that load for him on Monday. I unloaded on Friday. So I was like, hey, where I am, I'll run a couple of day runs. And the day runs were stupid money, man. Like, the load I'm on right now went 68 miles, and I think I shot myself in the foot. I got it for $800, and the minute I said, yeah, $800, the broker's like, okay, no problem, sent me the Raycon. That happened to me twice. The other load I did was 72 miles, and same thing, $800, yeah, no problem. So I'm sure I shot myself in the foot. But like I said, I think I've put on like 130 miles in the last 2 days and made $1,600. So, and it sets, why did my TV stop again? And it sets me up for, I got one of these antennas. I think my phone's messing with it because it was good before I started going live. I could always turn my hotspot on and watch it online, I guess. Anyways, but yeah, freight seems to be on fire right now. At least for what I'm doing and what I'm helping somebody else do, it seems to be doing really well. Cheap freight haulers in the house. What's going on? T-Star, what's your location, bro? In Seymour, Indiana. I live in Minnesota. Right now I'm out on the East Coast. I'm out in Pennsylvania right now. Oh, I missed it. Tampa Bay had a field goal. All right. James is in the house. What load boards do you use the most? The one I use the most is the DAT load board. Once again, I've used it more over the last couple of months helping some people out. I don't use it all the time. It costs me a lot. I mean, I pay $150 a month for the DAT load board. And I don't use it that much. I use it for little hop loads, you know what I mean? I use it for what the spot market is designed for. The spot market is designed to get you back to a customer load or get you to a customer load. I didn't build my business off of the spot market like a lot of people did. But I also use, is that Truck Smarter? That load board, which I like that load board for a couple of reasons. There are brokers that post on that load board and not the DAT load board. I'm not saying they're not bad brokerages. They're just, they're like Nolan and stuff like that. You know what I mean? They're kind of they're not click and go, but they're in like that same category, if you know what I mean. Oh. That guy just about tore his tandems off his trailer. Freaking people. Oh man, I missed a couple. Saying hi to Cheap Freight Hauler. I'm trying to get into owner-operator. What do I need to do? So I'm probably not the guy to ask for that because I'm a pretty negative Nancy on that because I speak the truth. I'll just be honest with you, okay? Before I became an owner-operator, I saved my money for 5 years. I got into this with skin in the game. I didn't get into it expecting somebody else to take care of my breakdowns and things like that. So I would recommend that if you are disciplined with your money, save some money, find yourself a truck that is affordable. I'd recommend a good fuel efficient truck, maybe a Freightliner with 500,000 miles on it, an International like what I drive that has a Cummins, gets good fuel economy, not like a Freightliner, but they're reasonably priced. Find yourself a decent truck and then decide what you want to do. Do you want to be a carrier and have your own authority, or would you like to lease on to a carrier that, in my mind, if you've never been an owner operator before, I would highly recommend leasing on to a carrier, because there are so many things that that carrier can help you with and do for you that, you know, allows you the time to start generating income. You know, you're not sitting at your computer filling out forms, doing things like that, carrier packets, yada, yada, yada. You know, I would recommend leasing on to a carrier. You know, and all you have to do there is kind of look at carriers in your area and see if they offer good things to owner operators, you know, and go from there. I don't know if that made any sense. Do you think 178,000 CDLs downgraded boosted rates? Is that from the clearinghouse deal? Is that how many people's CDLs got downgraded? Almost 180,000? Maybe. I've heard some other things, and I don't know this. I've heard things like some of like the Ukrainian and Russian drivers basically take off the whole month of January for like their holidays. I don't know if that's accurate or not. Obviously, I'm not Russian or Ukrainian, so I don't know if that's necessarily true, but that's kind of what I've heard. I mean, I guess those guys that got their CDLs downgraded, I doubt they were driving anyways. You know, if it's because of that clearinghouse deal, they probably didn't have their right to work thing back yet. You know what I mean? They hadn't completed the back to work information or whatever they have to do to get out of the clearinghouse program, drug program, or whatever it is. Drinking coffee at 8. What time do we got now? 8:45. 8:34. What kind of trailer, refrigerator or dry van? You know, once again, that depends on what you want to do. Historically, reefer rates are better than dry van freight. Now, I know a couple of people that run dry vans that run customer style freight that do very, very well. I will say reefer is strange hours. Typically, in the 25 years of my experience, it is longer wait times at shippers and receivers. When I ran dry freight, it wasn't really 9 to 5, but it was closer to 9 to 5 style work. This isn't. But what I do, I feel like I generate more revenue to my business, which in turn is more income for me, hauling reefer freight. Now, like I said, I got a couple of buddies that run dry van freight that do better than I do. Yeah, they do better than I do. But they got hooked up with the right customer, with the right, you know, brokers, that they're able to get very good rates on what they do. I'm a little bit jealous, to be honest. Anyways, man, see, I just lost my TV again. Maybe I should just switch it to the internet, and then I won't lose it. I kind of want to know what's going on in this game. The animals in the house. How old is too old to become an owner operator? I think if you're above 40, it's time to throw in the towel. It's time to hang up the boots and just sit there and yell at people. That's such a loaded question, and I know you want me to give some sort of response that tears down the elderly, but I'm not gonna do that. How are you doing, by the way, man? How's the animal doing? How's everything treating you guys? Um, okay, my next question for being an owner operator: it'd be better to run coast to coast, or would you do Midwest regional? TC Star, man, are you from the Twin? Oh no, you said you're from Indiana. Um, I don't run coast to coast, so I can't answer that. I have a buddy that lives in Idaho that does run east, or like California to the East Coast. As a matter of fact, I think he's on his way to Massachusetts right now from somewhere out west. Um, Multi-stop load. He runs Reefer Freight. So he's basically on it the whole week, but they're paying him really well to do it. The lanes I run are from the Midwest out to Maryland, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, upstate New York, things like that, and I do really, really well. I have ran from like Minnesota regionally, like not much farther than Ohio, and not much further south than like Missouri. So I've ran those states: North Dakota, South Dakota, Wisconsin, down into Tennessee, I guess. So I did go a little further south than Missouri. And that paid pretty well too. It's all in what you want to do. Find a lane, work that lane for a while, see the ups and downs, understand how much it costs you to operate that lane. That's a big thing. A lot of these roads are toll roads. There are ways to bypass the toll roads. Sometimes you get on loads. Like I ran a load the other day from Minnesota to Maryland. I had no choice but to take all the toll roads. That is something I do not like to do. It is very expensive to do that. But the time frame, you know, I had to do it. So like I know when I'm booking freight to certain parts of the country that I run, if I take the toll roads, it's going to cost me this much. I know where all the good fuel stops are. I know how to bypass most of the tolls. So it's just finding an area that you want to run in and you want to operate. I don't think anybody has the right answer. It's all what you want to do. Somebody come into my... There's all kinds of people like walking around my truck here. Something wrong? Hope not. Okay, the company you're with is out of Indiana. You're from the Cleveland, Ohio area. Okay. Okay. I'm not too familiar with that part. I don't know much about the Cleveland, Ohio area. I don't go in there very often. I've been there a couple of times to make deliveries, but that was during a couple of years ago when rates were absolutely ridiculous. Like I said, I run so much of the same freight. And that gets kind of boring, if I'm being honest. It just gets repetitive. But the one thing that I've learned I'm entering my 5th year right now. Over the 5 years of doing this, is consistency is a good thing. If you can get in with the right brokers, the right shippers, even other trucking companies, if they offer you freight and you do a good job, that freight is there for you when you need it. I've been fortunate enough to develop good business relationships, and I mean, it sounds weird to say, like some friendships off of YouTube that have gotten me very good freight. And I can make a phone call and say, hey, I'm going to be in this area on this day. Do you need help with anything? And 9 times out of 10, they do. That's the thing with trucking companies, man. Trucking companies always need help. You know, they might have trucks that break down. They might have drivers that quit. So like if you can get in with certain companies or even brokers, you can have consistent freight. But you get, like I said, you get kind of used to just running the same lanes where it gets a little boring. You know, you can only see so much of Highway 80 or Highway 70 or Highway 30 before you're just like, all right, same thing. You know. Anyways, I don't know if that answered your question. Yeah, man, this thing keeps going out. Somebody, what's the score of the football game? Somebody tell me the score of the football game real quick. You know what? We'll switch it to the internet. Oh, now it's coming back. No, I'm just switching the internet. Screw this. Home. Going to the internet. Now watch, it's not going to be on this service. Oh. No. Home. Very entertaining stuff, right? Watching a guy try and get a football game on his TV in his truck. There we go. Still 3-0. All right. Anyways, any more questions? Tell me, Animal, what's going on? You probably left. It's probably past your bedtime. When you get all old, you go to bed all early and stuff. And then you have to wake up like 5-6 times a night to go pee. I shouldn't be mean to people. Anyways, let me turn this down. You know, I can't remember Washington like ever being really good. So I think I'd like to see Washington win this game. But I don't know, I like the, you know, the fact that Baker Mayfield has gotten paid and he's on a good team and he's playing good. I like that story too. But I would like to see Washington win. Anyways, what else should we talk about? I think I'm being unloaded. This facility, you have to disconnect from your trailer, but I've seen my trailer move a couple of times, so I think I'm being unloaded, which would be really nice. Like I said, I'm at a CNS warehouse. Hold on a second, guys. Sorry. All right, I'll have to reach out to that guy. It's one of the drivers I'm helping. Any thoughts? James says, any thoughts on getting a truck from Lone Mountain? You know what? I'll be honest. I think if you want to be an owner-operator, I think getting a truck from Lone Mountain is a better way than like doing a lease purchase from a mega carrier. Lone Mountain is, like I said, it's gonna force you to have a little bit of skin in the game because you're gonna have to put a down payment down. I think that's a good thing, right? Like, I think people that want to become an owner operator should, like, in their personal life, show that they're a little bit disciplined with money or have a little fiscal responsibility with how they spend their money. Lone Mountain isn't a bad place. You're going to pay a little bit higher interest rate. Or actually, I think Lone Mountain might have interest free, but like you're going to pay a few $1,000s more for the truck. Don't quote me on that. But I don't think Lone Mountain is a bad way to go about getting a truck at all. Like I said, I think it's better than going to one of these mega carriers that you're going to do a lease purchase with them, that it's going to cost you triple what a Lone Mountain truck will do. I mean, if you walk into Lone Mountain with $5,000-$6,000 to put down on a truck, they show you up front, hey, your truck payment's going to be $1,500 a month. That's not absurd. You know, that's not absurd. What's absurd is paying $800-$900 a week, even more. There was people on YouTube not that long ago talking how they were good business people and their truck payment was $3,000-$4,000 a month. Those people aren't on the internet anymore, you know, talking about how good they are, you know. Some are, but majority of them aren't, you know. Get a truck at the right time. Right now is a good time to buy equipment. It's cheap. I bought this truck at the worst time. I bought this truck at the height of the truck market. I got a good deal on it for the market, right? They wanted $120,000 for this truck. I got it for $80,000. I put down a substantial down payment. Like, full disclosure, putting it on the glass, whatever you want to call it, like, I'm backwards on this truck. Like, if I was to try and sell this truck, it wouldn't be enough. I don't think it would be enough to pay my loan off. I've made a bunch of extra payments because I believe in like trying to own the equipment as quick as possible. I owned my other truck for a year and a half with no truck payment and saw the benefits of like actual ownership instead of having a loan out on it. But I also wanted to get like a good commercial loan under my business name and things like that to keep growing, you know, my business. So I went through a bank to get financing for this. Good evening. How are you? You're right, mega carriers. Yeah, I don't think that's a good idea, James. Leasing on to doing I don't want to talk bad. I don't want to discourage people either, but I do think that if you just got out of truck driving school or you've been out of truck driving school 6 months and a company is telling you to do a lease purchase, you should be very, very skeptical of that. You're gonna have accidents. You're gonna break crap. You're gonna make mistakes. That happens. I've been in this industry 25 years. I still make mistakes. They're not mistakes that are like super detrimental. You know what I mean? But I F up every now and then. You know what I mean? I'm not perfect, but getting into a truck that they want $190,000 for, and you've been driving for 6 months, and they're telling you have an opportunity to make this kind of money, you would be better off staying a company driver. I mean, company drivers make good money if you're with the right company, and they offer you benefits. They offer you things that once you step out and do things on your own, you're responsible for all that. You know, I pay my own health insurance. I have to pay all my disability. I have to pay all these things. Now, I do things different because when I wanted to be an owner operator and quit my good company job, I wanted to make sure that if I did this, I could provide everything a company could provide to me. If I wasn't able to achieve that, I was going to stay a company driver, you know, because I have a family and I have responsibilities. And if I can't provide those things for my family, what am I really doing out here? Like, that's the way I look at it. I'll probably get torn up in the comments for that, but what happened to my other truck? I sold it. I sold it twice. So I sold it to a buddy of mine. About a month and a half after I sold it, I bought it back from my buddy because this truck got into, like I said, I made the mistake. I hit an East Coast curb right? A curb that was like this big, and I busted one of the leaf springs. The first shop anyways, long story short, my truck, like 2 months after buying it, was down for about 2.5 months. And so I bought my old truck back, ran that, and then I did a lease purchase with a guy for that truck who ran it for about 8 months, 9 months. I did a lease purchase for 1 year. I sold him the truck and said, but I want my money back in 1 year. So he was paying a little bit for that truck on a weekly basis. But in 9 months, I think it was 8 months, he had saved enough money that he asked me if he could basically return the truck to me and upgrade his truck. I fully support that. So I said, yeah, return the truck to me. So he did, and then I sold it again. And now I have no idea where it is. I think the person I sold it to traded it in at a dealership. So I have no idea where that truck is now. That's still a lot of money, Michael. I don't pay that. That's a lot of money. $1,400 a week includes insurance, permits, and all. That's a lot of money. Multiply that by 4.34. That'll tell you how much a month that is. If I have my other phone set up, I mean, just by looking at that, that's going to be what, 30 or 48, almost $5,000 a month. That's absurd. Granted, you got a new truck, right? Like, I understand that. I understand that. You have a new truck. And there's benefits to having a new truck. Absolutely. That's just a lot of money. I'm nowhere near that. Nowhere near that. You also say, have you enjoyed the International, or would you have bought a different truck knowing what you know now? International is a great truck. At least the one that I'm in. I have another buddy that runs newer trucks, Internationals, than I do, with the A26 and the S13. At the time, Michael, that's a good question. That is a very good question. At the time, I wanted a truck that had no more than 300,000 miles on it. Now, I bought this truck 2 years ago, more than 2 years ago now, at the height of the market. The Cascadias I was looking at had 500,000 miles on them, and they wanted like $100,000 and $110,000 for those trucks, and they weren't budging on the price. That's way too much money to spend on 500,000-mile truck. I found a truck that had 310,000 miles on it. I talked them down. Like I said, they wanted $120,000 for it. I talked them down to $80,000. I feel like at that time, that was a good deal. Looking back at it, the Cascadias get better fuel economy. There's things about this truck that I kind of, what's the word? Foregone? That's not right. There was things I wanted in a truck that this truck didn't offer, and at the time, I was dead set on getting a new truck, that I didn't get everything that I wanted in a truck. That's what I've learned. The next truck I purchase, will have everything that I want on it. I am not gonna forego some of the things that I feel like would give me a better experience being on the road. International does offer everything that I want in a truck. So does Kenworth, so does Freightliners. I do think I will probably get another International. The trucks ran great, the engines ran great, the tranny's done just fine. we'll see when the time comes for me to get a new truck what I decide to do, though. It's a good question. You're currently at 64 cents per mile. So I don't think that's bad. And I know people beat me up in the comments. I think truckers, man, I'm sorry to say this. I think we overestimate what we're worth. And I get that we all want to make money. And I get we all, I got a buddy that owns a trucking company. He's got a couple of guys that I think are at like 63 cents, 65 cents a mile, and they're making $100,000 a year. Like, I can't imagine drivers not being happy with $100,000 a year. That is a ton of money. A ton of money. I think 64 cents a mile, if they treat you well, is a good job to have. You know what I mean? The thing with being an owner-operator is there's just nothing guaranteed. You know what I mean? I think when you work for a company, if you work for a good company, you have some security. Shoot. My reefer's throwing an alarm. I know why, too. It's because they're not unloading it and they have the door open. I should change that. Let me go clear my alarm on my reefer real quick. Gotta put my boots on. Let me go do this real quick. I'm running a frozen load here, and my doors are open. I bet I'm being unloaded, or they just opened their garage door, or their dock door, excuse me, because the code was out of box temperature, so yeah, I just cleared that code. Good evening, Shannon. How are you? Good evening. Yeah, I'm fresh out of school. I started at Swift 2 weeks. Want to get my experience up and see where that takes me. Have a nice nest egg save, and will continue to save for the next year in hopes to, I'm assuming, oh, here we go, become an owner-operator. James, I think that's a good idea, man. Take your licks, take your, try not to damage anything, but if you damage something, you're damaging it on somebody else's dime. Being an owner-operator is very expensive. It's stressful. You have your good weeks, good months, good years, and then you have your bad weeks, bad months, bad years. And it's stressful. It's not easy. You're playing with a lot of money that you need to be very responsible for. Because the minute you deviate from the responsibility of your fiscal responsibilities, you're gonna go bankrupt. I mean, that's just reality. And I'm not trying to scare people. I'm not trying to do anything. I'm just being real. I've seen too many people get into this and leverage like their personal life on a dream. I don't recommend doing that. When I got into this, I had $1 amount saved. And I had told myself, if I do this for 1 year and this dollar amount is gone, I'm out. Like, I'm out, because I'm not gonna jeopardize my personal life or my family and everything that I've built. I'm not gonna risk it all on, I guess you could call it a dream, because this is what I wanted to do. I wasn't willing to risk it all. I wasn't willing to gamble it all, you know. So I think if you work for a company for a while, James, and save your money and be disciplined, and then venture out into this, you know, like I said, make sure you sign up with a good company. I personally do not think lease purchases, the traditional way that a mega carrier does it, is necessarily the right thing to do. I know there's people that are successful at it. I get that. I tip my cap to them. Majority of them fail. I'm a statistics guy. Statistically, your likelihood of doing, whether it's a lease purchase or an owner operator, of failing is so great that you just have to be willing to accept the cost of that. And the cost of being an owner operator is you might fail, you know. And how much are you willing to sacrifice on that fail? Doc Holiday's in the house. How's it hanging? We're doing good, man. We're getting unloaded tonight at a CNS warehouse. So far, it's been going all right. Cents per mile's in the house. What's going on? Prime is a power button. Oh, I hear Prime is a power button. I must be missing something there. I'm going to start calling you the green machine, cents per mile. The green machine. Oh, good. I'm glad you like your internationals, Shannon. I don't think I would buy another truck. So I like the Cummins engine, right? It's what I drove a majority of my career before becoming an owner-operator. It was either a Cat or a Cummins. Engines is what the company that I worked for, those were the two main engines we had until they switched everything to Freightliners. But I don't think I would buy another truck with a Cummins engine. I think we're leaving too much on the table. And what I mean by that is the fuel economy. The name of this game is fuel economy. Try and be as efficient as possible. Wow, that was a nice throw. My first 50 years ago was a $275 a month. Paid it off. Oh, my first international was 50 years ago. Sorry, $275 a month. Paid it off in 6 months. Yeah, see, it's a nice truck too. Cents per mile says, I say buy one truck and be done with it. Get what you want and just keep maintaining it. Yeah, that's, you know what, that works for some people. I don't want to share too many. Like, I've thought about stuff like that. I think, so this is my personal opinion, okay? And I don't care what type of truck you have. Emissions trucks are not designed like our old school trucks. You know what I mean? Most of these trucks are throwaway trucks. Now, there are people, you happen to be one, you have a channel, cents per mile, everybody go check him out. You happen to have the classic style looking truck. It is an emissions truck, which, you know, I don't want to share what you do with your, you know what I mean? I don't know what you do. But, like, what I'm saying is, like, your truck, I would not deem a throwaway truck. My truck, a throwaway truck. You know, you start getting into the 700,000 miles, and I'm getting rid of this truck. I'm at 505,000 miles right now. Maybe I run this another year and a half and then get a newer truck. I'm set up to where I might be that guy that gets a new truck every 4 years. or keeps upgrading. I think that's, if I decide that this is super long term, that's probably what I'm gonna do. You know what I mean? I know some of my mentors that are in the trucking industry might disagree with that, but you know, like I look at my business and I look at other successful businesses. Now, granted, they're much bigger than me, but they upgrade their equipment, man. They keep upgrading their equipment. They don't sit on their equipment. They upgrade it. Now, like I said, these are much bigger companies than me, with, you know, revenue that I could never even imagine, but they upgrade their equipment, you know. Like I said, I haven't had many the breakdown that cost me the most in this truck was due to my negligence. You know, I was avoiding hitting a car, but I definitely overreacted to that situation. But this truck has kept me on the road. I was in another truck that cost me $50,000 in maintenance one year and kept me from generating revenue for a few months. You know, I don't think I'll ever go through that again. I mean, if this truck broke down and needed like $30,000 of work, I will go out and buy another truck and make 2 truck payments, or like just pay this truck off and not get it fixed. Like, Grade A Transportation says, rumor is that Hirschbach has a terrific lease purchase program. Yeah, we're not going to go down that road. We're not going to go down that road. That's a good one, though. Yeah, evidently you can go there for months and recruit people and say how great it is and then walk out. You know, it sounds like a great lease purchase to me. 5 to 750,000 miles. Better to be out of these new junks. 5 to 750,000 miles. Better be out. Oh, yeah, better be out of the truck at those. Yeah. You know, I kind of agree with that. If that's what you mean. Now, if I had a truck that, you know, like had a Series 60 in it, had even like a Caterpillar engine or something like that, I think I would continue to fix it. But you're also, when you're buying trucks like that, you're buying trucks that are 25 years old. You better go through that with a fine-tooth comb for all the electrical issues you're going to have. You're going to need new wiring, you know, and then you're also sacrificing a lot of money with your fuel economy. You just are. Now, there are some, cents per mile is a good example of this. Everybody go check his channel out. He hauls RGN, man. He's a heavy haul guy. You know, he, like, I wouldn't want to do what he does with my, I don't even think my truck can do what his truck does. I mean, let's just be honest. Like, the oversized stuff he hauls, I don't think my truck would make it 300 miles before something happened to it. So, like, I do think certain types of trucking require different types of equipment. You know, but I know for what I do, fuel economy is everything, man. It really is. Fuel economy and less downtime, you know, and that's the name of the game for me. Cheap freight hauler. Is it cheaper to buy a used truck every 3 or 4 years or a new one and keep it 6 or 7? I think that would really depend on the market. I really think it would depend on the market. I'm not opposed to getting new trucks at all. Matter of fact, I've talked about it. I've talked about there's a truck I want. I'm not ready to pull the trigger on it. I did go and test drive it. I did sit down with the salesman. Kind of got an idea on what my payment would be on it. You know, like I said, I don't know, cheap freight hauler. That's a good question. I don't know. I know that if you were to buy a truck today, let's say if I wanted to buy an International LT with an A26 with 250,000 miles, it's probably going to cost me 65 grand. Drive it for 4 years, what is that? You're looking at 600,000 miles, right? If you drive, let's just say I drive under 100,000 miles a year, but let's say I drive 100,000 miles a year for 4 years, that's 400,000 miles. So you're looking at a 600,000 mile truck. Trade it in, you know, I don't know what the right thing is. Used equal 400K or so. In the mileage, man, I wouldn't buy. See, I think this just goes to everybody's own opinion. I would never buy a truck that has 4,000 miles, 400,000 miles. I wouldn't, you know. But that's just me, you know, because I would look at it, let's say if I financed it for 4 years, that's another that's, if I drive 100,000 miles a year and finance something for 4 years, that's 400,000 miles. By the time my payments are up, if I don't pay it off early, that's an 800,000 mile truck. I'd have to trade it in and get a new one again, you know, which is what I'm talking about doing. Those trailers you did power only with a few months ago, were they dual temp? No, they were not dual temp. I think one was. One was dual temp. All the others weren't. Fun fact about that, I never released the video. I should release it. That gentleman got a hold of me again. I ran power only in Minnesota for 2 weeks, where I was home almost every night. I think I stayed in my truck 2 nights. Boy, and I had so many flashbacks of when I ran local style work, because I forgot that, like, when you run local stuff, like, they work the hell out of you. So I would get home, eat, shower, and go to bed. But yeah, I ran power only for that guy again for about 2 weeks. And it was funny. I chose to get paid hourly. So I made a hourly wage while I was running Minnesota to. I would run from Minneapolis to Grand Forks, North Dakota, and come back. And then, like, the next day, I would stay in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area and drop trailers off at shippers and receivers and bring loaded trailers back to a yard. And then I would run the next day back out to North Dakota. Yeah, it was actually fairly nice. Okay, I was looking at some on Truck Paper and seeing one with a red cover on the unit, and it was a dual temp. So the company that I ran trailers for, he didn't sell any of them. I know where all those trailers are right now. He didn't sell any of them. I brought them to a facility that upgraded all the units on the trailers. So he basically rebuilt all the reefer units because they were newer trailers. I think there was like 3 that were a little bit older, but they were all fairly new trailers with like older units on them. So he was updating all the units. Well, I guess it had a unit mounted on the roof towards the back inside. That's weird because usually the unit is actually just inside the back of the trailer on a dual temperature or dual zone reefer. You'll have like a little, you'll have the big bulkhead up front, and then near the back doors of the trailer, you know, probably at like 48 feet, you're gonna have another unit that's right there, but it's not above the roof of the trailer. At least the units that the trailers I've pulled with dual temperatures zones, that's how they were set up. Hollywood's in the house. What's going on? We're just chilling, man. Chilling, getting unloaded. Watching some football. Every time I look back at the TV, though, it's on commercial. So I don't know what the score is. Last time I saw it was 7-3, Washington. Geico. Anyways, yeah, that'd be nice. What, Hollywood? Oh, I've thought about doing that. A lot of the places that I go to for one of my customers, I see guys pulling dual zone, spread axle, stainless steel trailers hooked up to W900s or 389s. Just gorgeous setups. You talk to some of these guys, and I mean, they obviously are making money. They're doing LTL, Reefer Freight, but you talk to them, and they'll have $250,000 just invested in their trailer. You know, one guy that I've kind of become friends with, he has a summer truck and a winter truck, and both of them have been built by a company out here in Pennsylvania, the trucks and trailers, and his W900 with the trailer, he's at $730,000 he has invested in that. Like, that's freaking crazy. $750,000 in a truck and trailer. Like, I looked at him like, how are you making any money, man? He's like, oh, I do really well. And I'm sure he does. You know what I mean? And I kind of have an idea on what he does because I've seen him pick up at locations that I've been at before. That's kind of how we became friends, I guess, or acquaintances, where we'll chat with each other every now and then. So I have an idea. He's never shared who his broker is or who he's working with, but I have an idea, because one of the places I pick up at, I know there's only 3 companies that ship out of that area, so I have an idea on who he's working with. Oh wow, it's 10-3 now. But yeah, those guys make good money. I've seen them on the side of the road multiple times, and looked inside. They have 3 units. Yeah, they'll have one in the middle of the trailer. If I ever did like true LTL freight, I would probably do a dual zone, and then what I would do is, like, depending on how my loads are, either my back zone or my front zone would be frozen. The middle of the trailer would be like dry, and like I said, then the back would either be fresh or frozen. That's what I would do. 10-3. But maybe that'll be in the future. We'll see. I'm getting tired. I should lay down. That's the crappy thing about Reefer Freight. Like, I know I still gotta drive after this, so instead of staying on YouTube all night, I should take my boots off and go to bed for an hour or so till they wake me up. I really appreciate everybody stopping in here. yeah, we'll talk to you later. Have a good night. Have a good week. Sunday tonight, right? Sunday night? Yeah, it's Sunday night. Have a good week.